Alright, today I'm changing out my brake booster on my 2008 Jeep CRD. There it is. So I think I'm going to try to remove this box first to give me some room. Okay, so I have removed one bolt that I had there and one on each side. I've also removed this hose, which is right here, and I have disconnected just the two brake lines going into this ABS because I think we're gonna have to pull the whole master cylinder out. So it should come out now. Oh, I also disconnected the plug down there, which is right there. Okay, there we go. That's what it looks like when it's removed. And there is this O-ring which fell, and it lives there between the master cylinder and the booster. I've removed the two screws here which hold this kick panel right there and there. There we go. It's out. So next step is you can see there's 4 nuts that hold this in, and there should also be a pin that connects it. Whether I can show you that or not, it's pretty self-explanatory, I think. But okay, maybe you can see that clip there. I'll try to pull it off. So it looks like you bend it that way. There we go. Here's what it looks like. It's just this little tang that holds it, so you gotta bend it out of the way. Just sort of pops off that stud there, which I think you can see pretty well. So the stud stays on, and this little round arm thing pops off, and then 4 bolts, and I believe they're 13 mil each. Got all 4 bolts out. Okay, first attempt. See if it's loose and if it'll come out. Okay, I couldn't get it out with this ABS pump in place, so I've removed one bolt there and a nut here. And with all of that removed, you don't have to disconnect any lines. You can pull this just past there, pop that out of the way, and that should give me enough room. I got it out. That was a battle. I had to loosen up this strut tower, which are 18 mil nuts, and it still was a really tight fit. So yeah, remove that from the start, loosen this up from the start, and pull the master, obviously. Hole goes right around there. So I installed the booster and the master. Again, I didn't film it because it's the exact same, but in reverse order. So now I'm going to show you the bleeding portion. Master cylinder's in, everything's hooked up. I left the 2 brake lines a little bit loose. I never inverted or really moved the master cylinder around a whole bunch, so there shouldn't be too much air in there, but there will be some air. Same with the ABS block. So I've left them loose. I'm doing it the lazy way because I don't want to figure out how to bleed it with the OBD2 port. So I'm just going to leave those ports loose and pump the brake a couple times, and hopefully I'll get a little fluid come out of there, because I don't think there's going to be much air other than like the connection point. So we'll see how that goes. Got a bunch of fluid out of this port. I'm going to I've tightened it down, and now I'm going to make sure this one's loose and see if I can get some bleeding from here. Oh, should be plenty loose. Off camera, I pumped it a bit harder, and I got lots of fluid coming out, so I think that's good enough for bleeding. You may need to know this info if you accidentally depressed, pulled on the brake pedal when everything was disconnected. So your brake lights might be stuck on, is what I'm trying to say. So what you need to do is pull the switch out. Hopefully I can show you that. Okay, there it is. You literally just twist it 90 degrees and pop it out. It lives right there. There we go. Okay, it lives right there. So here it is. And once you twist and pop it out, then you can pull this plunger out. I didn't really film the brake switch adjustment very well because I couldn't film it and I was getting frustrated. So this is just a picture on the internet here. And that's the plunger that goes in and out, and that's adjustable. So this black portion here, the shaft, can actually, it basically clicks in and out of the body, and it's adjustable. So you can change the setting point depending where the brake pedal sits. That will not adjust if this white piece here is not twisted, whatever that is, 45 degrees. So when you remove it from the bracket on the the brake pedal assembly, which I filmed earlier, it'll come out and it'll be twisted like this. So all you need to do at that point is just put a little screwdriver or something on the back side of this and push out, and once it's out a bunch, doesn't really matter of how far it is, just push it out as far as you think you need to or more. Reinstall this. When you twist it back into place, this square white piece will be aligned with the body, and then it will self-adjust. Basically, this shaft will click in until it's adjusted for the pedal. Anyways, that's a problem I had. Basically, when I put everything back together, I must have accidentally clicked this a bunch, and like by moving the brake pedal, I clicked it, and it threw the adjustment of the switch out. So my brake lights were stuck on. So anyways, there's little forum write-ups about how to adjust this. It's not a big deal, but something to be aware of, because when you're underneath the dash trying to tighten up nuts and remove things, this thing is bound to get adjusted or misadjusted. So don't be surprised if your brake lights are on, stuck on after this repair is complete. So pretty quick and easy, but something you should know. So just in case anybody's curious why I changed out the brake booster on this, it's actually the second time I've done it. Because it's a diesel, it's got a vacuum pump, and somehow the booster, since I changed it, which was about 5 years ago, it was full of oil then, engine oil, not brake fluid, engine oil. And this time it was full of engine oil again. So I got about 5 years out of it till I started noticing some braking issues. And eventually I just lost power brakes in this, and intermittently actually. And so it'd be a very firm pedal. They still worked, but firm pedal, no power brakes. So I had to take care of that. So there is a check valve right there, which I did change when I put the new booster in 5 years ago. And that basically runs the vacuum hose right here, and it runs from the vacuum pump. And the vacuum pump, you'll have to pull this off if you don't believe me, but you pull this cap off, it actually lives in a bath of oil. So there's oil probably about up to here. It's kind of a cavity. So
everybody says, oh, your vacuum pump's leaking. Well, I don't think that's the case, because the like blades of the pump are in a bath of oil their entire life, and this port is just open right to the crankcase. So possibly that check valve failed again, or possibly the routing of this hose. Factory, I think it runs over top of the engine panel, so maybe the gravity kind of helps the way it's routed. So since I've changed this out, I did kind of route it a little differently, made a high point in it, so hopefully any engine oil that gets siphoned in after I shut down, because there's a remaining vacuum in the brake booster when you shut down, right? So the engine's not making vacuum, but the brake booster is still holding a vacuum because of that check valve. So if the check valve leaks, well, now the vacuum in the brake booster is pulling whatever's in this line in to, fill up with atmospheric pressure. So every shutdown, potentially you could be drawing in just a little bit of oily air, because these things do make some blow by, and the air is quite oily. Obviously, living in the vacuum pump, it's oily, and in general. So I think that's what happens. It just siphons a little bit of engine oil every time it shuts down, and 5 years later, it's full.